How's it going, guys? This is the Core 3 from FightingGamesOnline.info, and I'm basically back with the new series that I'm titling Fighting Words. And it's basically just to talk about different topics that concern fighting games. I've been wanting to do this for some time, and I felt like some recent events would be a great topic of discussion to start the series with. So without further ado, why are people so upset with DLC and the way that developers have been announcing it in the last few years? Just recently, the developers of Dragon Ball FighterZ Arc System Works announced the release date and new information on their next fighting game, BlazBlue Cross Tag Battle. The latest details for this upcoming title revealed that the game would have an initial 20-character roster and that there would be 20 DLC characters released periodically sometime after. They also announced their first DLC character as well. From what I understand, it happens to be a popular character from the series that she is based on. I'll be honest in saying that I had an initial knee-jerk reaction to this. I thought this was crazy. I also assumed that they would be charging the normal retail price of this game, so I was not happy about this announcement. I will come to find out later that the price revealed in the original article, which was 5,800 yen, about $52 US, is not what we here in the States would actually have to pay. Apparently, games in Japan actually cost more than they do here in the States, and this was pointed out to me with Dragon Ball FighterZ. In Japan, Dragon Ball FighterZ is retailing around 8,000 yen, which roughly comes up to about $70 US. So based on this, we here in the States are actually paying $10 less than our cohorts in Japan. Now, while I think $40 is more than reasonable for what they are offering initially, this still speaks to another issue that I believe is the real reason why people are upset with DLC, and that is we are no longer getting what you would technically call a complete game. What we have been seeing in the recent years, especially within this current generation, are developers releasing games before everything is in place and relying on DLC and updates instead of just giving us a full package. This is really not what DLC was intended for, but now it has become a common practice. It was even apparent with Dragon Ball FighterZ that Namco Bandai was pushing for an early release of the game. I initially thought this game would probably not release until March, maybe April the latest, but after they announced the release date and the DLC, it was clear they intended to put this title out before they were finished. We are basically seeing the same thing happen with BlazBlue Cross Tag Battle. I expected this title to release in either fall or winter of this year, but we're getting a summer release, and that's because we're basically getting half of the roster. Now, I'm not completely against releasing the game earlier than intended. I believe it has both its positives and negatives. Based on ArcSys' track record, I believe Cross Tag Battle will have a sufficient amount of content for players to enjoy, but that still remains to be seen. Now, there could be a ton of reasons that they're rolling out BlazBlue Cross Tag Battle earlier than we have expected. And the biggest reason I believe this is happening is so they can cover their development costs for the title moving forward. There have been plenty of examples of development studios doing this in the past, and it's not something that we as consumers are privy to, but it does happen. For those that do not know, Cross Tag Battle will also be the first title that ArcSys will publish here in the States, as they announced a new place of operations just a few months back. That is certainly not a small endeavor by any means. So why do I think people get triggered when it comes to DLC announcements? Simple and plain, these days DLC means download continued and not downloadable content. People just feel like they're getting a 6 for a 9, and if we're being totally honest, it's very apparent and sometimes egregiously implemented. Whenever this issue arises, and it does very frequently, I always say, you speak with your wallet. BlazBlue Cross Tag Battle is honestly not the worst we have seen in DLC practices by any length of the imagination, but it still speaks to something I feel needs to be addressed in this current generation of gaming. So that's pretty much my take on this situation. What do you guys feel about the common practices that have been taking place with DLC implementation? Let me know in the comment box below, and take it easy.